Hi, I'm Matthew Parker. I'm the champion of print. Everyone tells you these days that you should be using content marketing. It's a great way to build up engaged prospects way before you actually contact them on a one-to-one basis, and it's a very efficient way to do it as well. And I totally agree with that. The trouble is, there's one big problem with content marketing. It takes so long. If you want to do content marketing well, then everyone says that you need to be a thought leader and you need to write long blogs full of thought leadership. Now, first of all, we're busy people. It can be hard to come up with those thoughts. And secondly, it takes time to write them. Now, I'm a trained content writer, and when I first went on a content writing course, there were people on there who were taking 4 or 5 hours to write a relatively short blog post. And you haven't got that time. You're all busy people. You've got businesses to run. So how do we get around this problem of content marketing focusing around thought leadership and long form content? And the answer is pretty simple. It doesn't have to. Instead, you can have a simple content marketing scheme. And if you have a simple content marketing scheme, it's got 3 advantages. First of all, you're actually likely to go ahead and do it. You're going to create the content that you want and you're going to get it out there. Secondly, you're going to engage your audience because you will be putting content out there rather than that one piece that you wrote years ago that no one reads anymore. You're going to be putting out a regular stream of content. People will see it and you're going to engage with prospects. And that leads to the third advantage, that you're actually going to start winning new customers from it as well. And you know what? That can be fun doing it as well. If you use this, you're in a good position to start building up relationships with a wide audience of people, far wider than if you stick to phone or email when you're on that one-to-one sales cycle. And of course, if you do that, you're much more likely to control a powerful pipeline of new business. You're much more likely to achieve those sales goals that you want to achieve. Of course, you could stick to the traditional channels saying that content marketing doesn't work for you, but if you do that, chances are you're going to struggle to achieve the sales you want. You're going to find it much harder to engage that wider pool of interested prospects. So let's talk about 3 things that you can do in order to create a simple content scheme. And the first of these is to write short updates about what you're doing. If you've won a new customer, tell them what sort of customer it is, and maybe you'll have other people going, oh wow, okay, if they're winning customers in this market, maybe I should be talking to them as well. If you've done a great project, if you're not bound by non-disclosure, share a picture of it. We live in a visual world. Take photos of your factory, take photos of your staff. Tell people what you're doing this week. None of that is hard to write. None of it takes a long time, and it all creates engaging content that people like reading, but it also tells them a little bit more about you, your company, and what you're up to. Number 2, think about other content that you can share. It's great if we can all share best practice about good marketing and about good branding. It's great if we can share case studies about why print is such a powerful channel these days and how it's actually a lot more powerful than digital in many cases. And you don't have to write all that. That content's out there. It's fine to share content as long as you credit the person or the organization that wrote it in the post that you put up about it. Then share away. They'll be delighted you've done it. I love it when people share my posts. Maybe you could share some content on INKISH as well. One way to do this that will make your life a lot easier is to use a little app called Feedly, and we'll put a link to it in the show notes afterwards. This allows you to build a connection to sites where you see a lot of useful content being published. And it publishes a list to you of all the new articles. So you can skim down and ignore most of them and then go, that looks like an interesting headline. Maybe I'll find out a little bit more about that. It's a really good way to be able to see a lot of articles about print, about marketing, about whatever it is you want to tell your audience, but know which ones you want to share and investigate without too much trouble. The third thing that you can do to create a really good, simple content scheme is actually spend some time sharing your content as well. That's another important bit. It's great for having all this content, but it only works if you get it out there. And again, this doesn't have to take a great amount of time. For example, I typically talk to my Twitter followers 4 times a day and to my LinkedIn followers 3 times a day. But all that's set up in advance using automated scheduling software, so I don't have to be there doing it at the time. I can easily spend just an hour a week scheduling all these updates, and then just a little bit more time engaging with people on social media afterwards. So it doesn't have to be a huge time-consuming operation. So if you'd like to go down this simple content route, then think about 3 action points that you can do right now. The first of those is actually just start thinking about what you have been doing this week and make just a few notes about it, and suddenly you've written those social media updates. Secondly, go to Feedly, set up an account. You'll find it really simple to use. And thirdly, make a list of places where you'd like to share your content, and then you can make sure that you are visiting those and posting that content regularly. Now, again, some of you may be feeling that this is a lot of time, that it's something you're not comfortable with, you've got too many other things on your plate. You don't have to do this. It's very easy to get a junior member of staff to do this, and many of your younger employees will know exactly what they need to do and be able to do it very quickly indeed. But if you get someone in your organisation, make them a champion of social media and make sure they're getting the message out there, then you've got that opportunity to engage with your customers. Of course, you could think that you have to write that long form content. You could sit there sweating, wondering what on earth you're going to write next as you write only a few words in the first hour. Or you could go down the simple content route. It's easy, it's fun, it doesn't have to take time, and it will get you results.